hello, and welcome to episode 655. Who's counting? Of Prog Review, and of course, I'm gonna use the old Editions EG paperweight as the introduction because we're doing this thing about EG records, and today I'm talking about Robert Quine and Fred Maher's Basic album. There you go, and this was released back in 1984. Again, this was on my list. Remember I showed you the list in the previous video? Do you remember the catalogue, the EG Records catalogue? You probably don't remember it, but I was explaining how, just in case you haven't seen that video, how that EG Records 1987 spring catalogue was my roadmap, and there were albums on there that I would work through and check out, to see if I liked, and did the lounge lizards the other day, not to be confused with the flying lizards. I want money, that's what I want. Easy mistake to make. So yeah, these guys, again, I know nothing about them. I still don't know anything about them. Put this album back in November 1984. It's Fred Maher and Robert Quine. Robert Quine unfortunately died in 2004, and he'd worked with loads of people, probably best known with Richard Hell and the Voidoids. Worked with Lou Reed, Tom Waits, Lloyd Cole. He even appeared on NerveNet by Brian Eno. Everything is connected. So that was a shock when I was listening to this and thinking, oh, that name, and then I looked at, NerveNet, and so I was a bit shocked by that. I'm easily shocked these days. And Fred Maher, he was in a band called Massacre, and was in Scritti Politti, Green Gartside. That's all I know. And was it Love Bees, Wood Bees? I can't remember. That was a long time ago. I was never a big fan of Scritti Politti. And again, toured with Lou Reed. So you can see how their careers intersected, how they came together, as it were. And I didn't know what to expect of this album. All I knew it was instrumental. It was an instrumental album. That's all I knew about it. Didn't know anything else. So I put it on, and it's one of the problems of it is very much of its time. It's very much, you can tell it's a 1980s album, and the percussion, even though it says that there aren't any. The problem is there aren't any real drums on it. It's drum machine, and that's a real shame, because I think it really dates and becomes a bit wearing on the record, because the percussion track is all drum machine. The guitars and the basses are real, but you have this kind of real harsh, brittle sound to it, and it's a real shame. I think it could have really benefited from some real drums in there, but what can you do about it? But it is an instrumental album of guitar and bass, and it is. I'd call it. They say it's new wave on the Wikipedia entry, but I'd say it is progressive, because you can hear all sorts of things going on with it. I wouldn't say it's particularly melodic. It's very rhythmic. It's a very, very rhythmic album, and it's very interesting to hear. Was it the rhythmic counterpoint? Well, whatever. It's very interesting to hear the guitars interacting with the drum machines and that. And there's some bits in it that do sound kind of an echo of what Quine did on. Is it Quine or Quinn? I always worry I get these names wrong and mangle them, and everyone in the comments say you said it all wrong. You know what I'm saying? But you can hear like a portent of what he did with NerveNet, and there's some really interesting sounds. If you like what Adrian Belew does, King Crimson, again, trying to knit this together with references that you prog people will get. Some of the more left field Belew noises you can hear on here. You know, they're doing stuff that, you know, some of those noise experiments with the guitars. You know, some of it works. I think, again, it's about 50 minutes long, so I'd say it's probably 10 minutes too long. It outstays its welcome slightly. But as a guitarist and somebody that was, you know, interested in guitars and drum machines, you know, almost like guitars being used in a dance music context. Right, this isn't dance music as you'd probably think it is, but it has a pulse to it. It has a dance pulse to it. I found it very interesting to listen to. It was like, oh yeah, this is, you know, this is to say I'm not saying it's a great album, but you know, if you play, and I found it interesting from that perspective, not from a production perspective particularly, because I think the production could have been improved somewhat. It is a little bit dog-eared, it's a little bit rough around the edges, but there were some really interesting ideas on there, I thought, you know, but lacked the focus of a good producer, and that's a shame, because I think they could have gone a bit further, and they could have edited out some of the lesser ideas. But again, this goes back to what I was saying about EG Records: is you buy into this culture, and you never knew what you were going to get. You never knew what was going to be on these records. There's always been something interesting there. There's always something that was going to change your perspective, and that's why I liked it as a label. And to mention Robert Fripp and DGM, I'm joking, but when he had his label out in the late 90s, he had a similar vibe to it. You know, there'd be albums on there that were very different, but they all had the same kind of air of experimentalism and, you know, forward thinking, and this is the same with EG Records. So yeah, I mean, if you like that kind of 80s production, if you can get past the 80s production and you want to hear some engaging, interesting, instrumental guitar music, but not in a progressive melodic kind of way, but more in a rhythmic. You know, it's all about the rhythm. And this is very interesting to check out. And I always find it amazing that artists like this and albums like this ever existed in the 80s, because, you know, it's real niche. This is real niche stuff. You know, really, you wonder how many copies were sold, you know, how many copies were pressed, because it is incredibly niche. And it's, you know, and you think it's like a passion project for the people that put this stuff out, because no sane record company, you know, would put this out, because it is just a little bit over there. It's a little bit over there. But that's the joy of EG Records. It is an experimental label, or was an experimental label, and I always find something interesting on there to listen to. Even after all these years, I've waited for these records to become available. I mean, I could hunt them down on eBay, but like I said, Burning Shed, someone, I reckon it was Bill Bruford, found a box of old records in his shed, because they all smell a bit damp. I got one record was actually covered in mould, but I'll do a review of that soon from this lot. I had to clean it off. It was mouldy. Don't get too many mouldy records in the post. But yeah, it's been really interesting. It's good to get some music that you haven't heard and are completely unfamiliar, and seen from a different time, from a more innocent time. So yeah, so that was. I better give it a rating. In terms of rating, I'm going to give this 3 bluffers out of 5. 3 bluffers out of 5. It's not for everyone, but it occupies a very interesting, a very interesting space in the catalogue. It definitely smells a bit musky. Bit definitely smells like it's been in a shed or a garage. Probably be a garage, not a shed. But yeah, so that was. Robert Quine and Fred Maher's Basic album on the EG Records label, and yeah, like I say, it was a different time. Anyway, thank you for watching. There's only one more thing left to say, and that is prog on.